It started at the edge of the unknown, a shoreline scattered with broken will and gnawing despair. Hanuman, son of Oyu, stood among the warriors of Rama's Vanara army, the rough sea before him rolling and raging as if to swallow hope itself. It was the greatest problem anyone had ever faced. Sita, Rama's wife, stolen away by the demon Lord Ravana. Spirited across hundreds of miles to Lankan Island, no mortal, no vanara, had ever reached and returned. Someone had to leap across that monstrous sea. Someone had to cross the impossible. And Hanuman, for all his strength, had doubts. For days the Vanaras had searched. The clues all pointed south to the ocean, and then ... nothing. The waves. The impossible. Even Jambavan Chentwise, the king of bears, looked on in silence. There were sighs, slumping shoulders, talk of going back. But Jambavan remembered Hanuman's true power. He reminded Hanuman that, inside, he was the mightiest of them all. That as a child he had leaped for the sun itself. Sometimes the greatest heroes have to be reminded that they are heroes. So Hanuman grew, not only in courage, but in size literally. He swelled with resolve, growing as tall as a mountain, as certain as faith. With the wind roaring behind him and the hopes of an entire world riding on his shoulders, he stepped back and looked at the horizon. Then he leaped. The ground shook, the trees bent. Even the birds in the sky scattered as the mountain-like figure soared through the air, clutching only trust in the name of Rama to his heart. The leap itself was a mission into the unknown. Hanuman had never flown so far. No one had. Below, the ocean stretched endlessly, filled with monsters eager for a taste of legend. Not far into his flight, Hanuman spotted the mountain Manaka, rising out of the water, a golden invitation, sent by the gods themselves, offering rest. But Hanuman politely declined. He said he would not rest until his duty was done. He could only bow in gratitude and fly on. Of course, the universe doesn't prize heroism without a test or two. Enter Sarasa, the serpent goddess, lurking in the clouds, blocking his path. "No one passes unless I get to eat you," she declared. Hanuman didn't blink. He grew larger and larger, daring her to open wider, or so she thought. In a flash, he shrank down, darted in and out of her mouth, touching her teeth and escaping before she could close her jaws. "You have passed," she said. "Good luck." If only monster serpents were the last of his problems. Next came Simhika, another demon who could trap any shadow flying over the water. She tried grabbing Hanuman's shadow, pulling him down towards her gaping jaws. But Hanuman, swifter than fear, slashed and freed himself, sending the demon back to darkness. Still, miles and miles of sky remained. Finally, the golden shimmer of Lanka appeared on the horizon, a fortress forbidden. With towers looming high and battlements bristling with Rakshasa guards, Hanuman paused above the city, realizing this was just a beginning, not the end. He shrank himself to the size of a humble monkey, soundless and unnoticed, divine spy. He landed softly on Lanka's walls. What followed was a masterclass in stealth. Hanuman slipped past guards, crept through gardens, climbed palace domes, and searched through chambers no outsider had ever seen. He found her Sita alone, sorrowful, unbowed. He waited until the demonesses guarding her were away, and then revealed himself. He handed her Rama's ring, the proof that hope had come. He listened to her words. He left her a message of courage. But the mission was far from safe or done. Hanuman let himself be seen deliberately. He allowed himself to be captured and brought before Ravana. In the dark throne room, glowing with arrogance and hate, Ravana sneered at the little Vanara. Hanuman, ever defiant, spoke the words that shook palaces. "Return Sita. Turn away from evil. There is still time." Instead, Ravana ordered Hanuman's tail to be set alight. Fire, humiliation, or so they thought. Hanuman leapt from the palace, his flaming tail trailing behind him. He darted from roof to roof, setting Lanka itself ablaze, sending waves of panic through the demon kingdom. Even as flames licked up the sky, Hanuman leaped back across the ocean, roaring through smoke and salt. He landed on the far shore, battered, exhausted, but triumphant. Proof that nothing is impossible if you have the courage to try. Sita was alive. The demons were vulnerable. Hope, once lost, now blazed wider than the fire Hanuman left behind. Of all the tales ever told, this was the leap that changed history, the day one hero dared the impossible and lit the way for a new dawn.